It's a trap!
Welcome back to the Rumor and Theory Review, brought to you by Star Wars Newsnet and the Resistance Broadcast patrons. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a pretty fun show for you on the Rumor and Theory Review. This is where pretty much every week I try as much as I can to go through the latest rumors and theories out there regarding Star Wars and Star Wars upcoming content. But a little twist this week, as I'm going to be putting my own theory out there for you to judge based on information that I've gathered and try to put some pieces together. And then also we're going to tackle a classic style, normal style rumor that's been floating around and see where we're at with that. But first, I want to start with this theory, okay? Let's think about this project for a second. You have Project Luminous. That's the High Republic. It's a series of books and comics that's going to be taking place hundreds of years before the prequels. Now, that had me thinking about something. Benioff and Weiss' series of films were announced in, I believe, January of 2018. And it has come out to be revealed by them upon their departure that they were planning on doing films set, when? Hundreds of years before the prequels, about the Jedi. So you have both this Project Luminous High Republic taking place hundreds of years before the Skywalkers, about the Jedi, and Benioff and Weiss revealing themselves that they were planning to do the same type of thing with their films. So this has me wondering, was Project Luminous supposed to be connected to a bigger thing in Star Wars, that bigger thing being big blockbuster movies? Were they supposed to be parallel content, support content for this new era in films for Star Wars? Where I am basing this theory on is old reports of ours, old reports of others, certain dates that line up, and of course the matchup in content. Again, hundreds of years before the Skywalkers, there's Project Luminous about the Jedi, and Benioff and Weiss said they were going to be hundreds of years before the Skywalkers about the startups of the Jedi or the prominence of the Jedi. Very interesting. We'll get back to that in a little bit. So first, again, the announcement, January 2018, that Benioff and Weiss were making a series of films. I'm sure Kathleen Kennedy really enjoyed how they created and developed Game of Thrones, a massively successful series, one of the most successful series of all time, big budget type of TV storytelling that perhaps something like The Mandalorian doesn't even exist if Game of Thrones wasn't made. So they probably saw that aesthetic, that medieval type of vibe, and wanted to bring them in to do something in that type of setting for Star Wars. Now, Project Luminous, I believe, started work, these books and comics and that type of storytelling started work later on in the summer of 2018. You fast forward to 2019. March 2019, I did a report that from a source who had worked on all previous post-George Lucas Star Wars movies. So all the Disney-era Star Wars movies, proof, legit source, said the next movie that was going to be made was by Benioff and Weiss. This was before that was announced by Disney that was going to be the next movie, and that it was going to take place when? Again, hundreds of years before the Skywalkers and about the Jedi. So there you have it from that report. That was March 2019. Then Celebration comes, and we hear about this Project Luminous, and that's announced, and what is this going to be? So that kind of just gets thrown out there for us to kind of start developing theories and conspiracies and speculate and all sorts of things that they love us fans doing, because we keep its name out there and we keep talking about it, and it becomes a hot topic on its own without having to really pay for marketing, kind of free advertising right there. So they plant that seed. Fast forward to the summer, I believe it was the summer, when Jason Ward of Making Star Wars said that the next films for Star Wars are going to take place in this High Republic era. Now, that's not the first time we heard High Republic. High Republic came up in the Jedi Lost Dooku novel written by Cavan Scott, who is a part of Project Luminous. But it's the first time we heard that era connected to the next series of films. So you have my report from March saying that the next films are going to take place hundreds of years before the Skywalkers, about the Jedi. Then you have Jason Ward from Making Star Wars saying it's going to be this High Republic era, 400 years before the Jedi, or whatever that report had said. And then fast forward a couple months after that, like October, I believe, it was announced that Benioff and Weiss were departing their Star Wars project and signing a new deal with Netflix. It went on to be revealed, like I said earlier, to start this theory here, that Benioff and Weiss revealed that they were going to be exploring 100 years back, again, about the Jedi. Again, this theme keeps coming up hundreds of years before the Skywalkers, hundreds of years before the Skywalkers. Now, New York Comic-Con took place in October of 2019, right before the official announcement that Benioff and Weiss were departing. You know that agreement that they were leaving happened way before the announcement. So Lucasfilm, Disney and Lucasfilm Press, I always have a hard time saying that. Disney, Lucasfilm Press, there we go. Knew going into New York Comic-Con, maybe they were planning on announcing what Project Luminous was. New York Comic-Con is a huge event. They weren't just going to go out there and say, oh, Project Luminous is happening. You already know that. We're going to say it again. To be honest, I think that panel fell flat. We all kind of wondered, why didn't they announce something? I thought they were going to announce what this was all about. All the Star Wars pundits out there expected it to happen. It came and went, didn't happen. Then the Benioff and Weiss announcement comes out that they're gone. So I think their departure delayed the official announcement of Project Luminous because Project Luminous was supposed to be connected to their series of films. I think these two things were going to run right alongside each other. So you were going to have the new era in Star Wars storytelling, which was going to be these new series of films from Benioff and Weiss, taking place hundreds of years before the prequels about the Jedi. Then you're going to have these books and comics taking place at the same time. You're not going to do these two sets of media taking place in the same time and have them not be connected. So Benioff and Weiss confirmed what they wanted to do. We know what Project Luminous was. These two things were connected, guys. And they now, you hear rumors that video games are going to be coming out too. So I think this was a full-scale, all-media level assault on what they wanted to do with this new era. They wanted not just the movies, they wanted the books, the comics, and the games all connected to this new High Republic era. And Benioff and Weiss leaving really threw a tangent and threw a wrench into that plan. But you couldn't cancel Project Luminous because those books had been already well into production, probably done with all their drafts and finalizing their final drafts for over a year or so. So they know they had to go forward with it, but they didn't want to announce it yet because they didn't really have a plan on what to do. So you fast forward to a month or so later, you have The Mandalorian coming out, The Rise of Skywalker. If they're only announcing books and comics now, those would be overshadowed pretty badly by The Mandalorian and The Rise of Skywalker. Even Star Wars Resistance, a TV show, was overshadowed by those two products. So they waited, and we thought we were going to get something in January. Nothing happened. Then we hear that there's some big event happening in February, some big announcement that wound up taking place on the Disney lot in February, which revealed the High Republic. These new books, 3 books, and 2 comic runs that are taking place in the High Republic. Now, again, all this stuff in my theory is not inside information that this is confirmed, but this is all me connecting the dots on things that are factual, right? So I'm putting the pieces together of this puzzle. One thing I did hear, though, is that there was concern within Disney Lucasfilm Press that they may have overshot the hype on this thing, Project Luminous, by creating an event. I mean, think about it. They had an event on the Disney lot with media covering it for books and comics. That's pretty unheard of for Star Wars. Usually it's a blog post out of StarWars.com. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't have been done, but what I have heard from people who had attended it and, whisperings about it is that people from inside Disney Lucasfilm Press were concerned that they may have overhyped it too much and made it too big of a deal, and it may have lost its kind of buzz after the announcement came out. We'll see what turns out. I'm still, looking forward to the products, of course, but the bottom line here with this theory, again, to sum it all up, I believe Benioff and Weiss' movies were supposed to be connected to this Project Luminous High Republic era, and now they're probably reeling a little bit on what to do with that. Whether they revisit the High Republic and bring in other directors and writers and say, hey, we still want to live in this area, in this era. Are you willing to come on board without a clean slate, make stories within this era for us? We'll see if that happens. Who knows? And obviously you still have Rian Johnson out there. Is that trilogy happening? Who knows? But that's my theory. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And, keep the discussion going, especially as more information comes out. But next, on to the rumor. This is ridiculous. I don't even need to spend a lot of time on this. The only reason why I want to spend time on it is because of a little bit of hypocrisy with some fans, right? So the rumor was that Kathleen Kennedy was banned from the set of The Mandalorian Season 2. Kathleen Kennedy, who helped co-create The Mandalorian, is the executive producer of The Mandalorian and the president of the company for which The Mandalorian is made. Banned from the set? That doesn't make a lot of sense, guys, right? No one believes that rumor, right? Unless it's one of those things where you believe the rumor because it fortifies your dislike of Kathleen Kennedy, which is not logical. That's just you supporting your bias. So, I mean, think about it. That's like Lorne Michaels getting banned from the set of Saturday Night Live, right? That's pretty much what that is. Think about how crazy that is. I mean, you don't see Chewie back here this week? That's because I banned him from my set because he stole my animal crackers. But that's a completely different thing entirely. Kathleen Kennedy being banned from the set of The Mandalorian Season 2 obviously didn't happen. But the reason why I want to bring it up is because you have a lot of fans out there who don't like Kathleen Kennedy. And they create this weird divide that certain Star Wars projects that have taken place in this modern era are separate and not under the same umbrella. So to me, I see it as the sequel trilogy is over here, and then you have like Rogue One and The Mandalorian over here. So for some reason, someone's created that divide when it doesn't really exist because Kathleen Kennedy oversaw all of this. She is the executive producer and president of Lucasfilm. Whether you like the movies or don't like the movies, you can't give her credit or bash her for some stuff and not give her credit for the stuff you like. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. And let's not forget Rogue One, which even the biggest of Disney Star Wars haters say they'll admit they like that movie. And Kathleen Kennedy's the one who made the decision to bring in Tony Gilroy to kind of gut Rogue One, which was having some problems, do a lot of reshoots, do a lot of rewriting, added the ending, and the Vader scene at the end, the big hallway scene that everybody loves, was a last-minute throw-in. And that's Kathleen Kennedy making those tough calls. Say what you want about Kathleen Kennedy. If you don't like that she's the president of Lucasfilm because you feel like they're not keeping up with the other franchises like Marvel, I get it, trust me. But when it comes to being a producer, she is one of the best of all time. We're talking about decades and decades and decades of massive success. But anyway, the rumor that she was banned from the set of The Mandalorian Season 2 is something concocted by fans who just don't like Kathleen Kennedy. So don't buy it. I know you already don't, but I kind of wanted to bring it up because of that whole point of hypocrisy that some people like to bash her for things they don't like, but not give her credit for the stuff they do like. You can't have it. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So that is it for the Rumor and Theory review this week. Let me know what you think about my theory about Benioff and Weiss's movies. Were they supposed to be tied to the High Republic era and this Project Luminous, which now may have fallen a little bit flat without some kind of big, heavy theatrical support? And, of course, my take on the Kathleen Kennedy ban from the set, or lack thereof, I should say. Leave a comment below, and of course, thanks so much for watching the Rumor and Theory review. You can find me on the Resistance broadcast every Monday and Thursday, and writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com, and you can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey. I want to say a special thank you to Star Wars Newsnet, Val Trichkov, for supporting our videos here, and of course, our patrons, our Resistance officers at patreon.com/Resistance broadcast. This video does not exist, does not happen, is not produced, edited, written, or anything like that without your support. So thank you so much for your continued support. We have a lot of plans on what we want to do for this channel and the podcast and other stuff down the line, and we can't do it without you. So thank you so much. If you are interested in supporting us, go to patreon.com/Resistance broadcast. You also get a lot of access to exclusive content. You get this video early, the podcast early, Discord servers. You can even appear on the podcast. A lot of cool stuff. Thank you all so much for your support. And until next time on the Rumor and Theory review, we'll see you around, kids.